Hey guys, Joshua Peterson, Peterson Electric. Try to do one interesting video here a week, and I wanted to talk to you today about. I'm in Fort Collins, and Fort Collins, when the infrastructure was built back, some of it, of course, the turn of the century, but also there was a lot of subdivisions put in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There were some subdivisions over by Rocky Mountain High School actually was built in the 90s, but they couldn't get, for some reason, utilities there with natural gas. So they ended up the builder ended up making everybody put in 200 amp services and having electrical baseboard heating. You have to realize that over time, those heaters are going to wear out, and especially the contacts on your thermostats, and that's going to build up a carbon dust. And over time, it's like a plaque, if you will. But when you have that kind of buildup between two contacts, as they've been snapping and opening 240 volts for the last few decades, they're going to have to be changed out. And when they get changed out, that's going to help. But what happens is when voltage is coming into a switch and going back out, that potential is going to slow down. And if your voltage slows down, well, you increase in your current, and therefore in the backside of that, your joules as well. And so your energy bill is going to go up. The other thing I've seen in the past about why my energy bill is so high are very fluky things. But there are, for instance, a wire in the back of those baseboard heaters that can ground out. And if they ground out and yet the ground isn't detecting it to trip the breaker, well, that can cause the current to rise as well because the appliance then is completely being energized. I've seen it on dryer machines as well as electric ranges, especially those old coil top cooktop burners. The other thing you can look for is very, very odd things, but I've had it where one time a lag for pergola was put in and it nicked the neutral side, or actually the hot side, the ungrounded conductor on a branch circuit inside a guy's bedroom. I have a YouTube video on it from 9 years ago, and I consistently watched that disc meter slow down and speed up, slow down and speed up as I pulled the neutral on and off. That's a very rare occasion because the complaint was the guy was putting Christmas lights and got blown off his ladder. And basically, the complaint was getting shocked, and also that the gutter was energized. And it was energized through the flashing to the gutter to the ground. I have a light bulb I put on the grass and put in a little ground rod. But today I want to talk real quickly just about this. This system over here in Fort Collins is another area, and they have what we call a heat pump. This property management that brought me over here today was very knowledgeable about this, but basically the furnace is part of this heat pump system, and then the heat pump as well. Well, you're running 40 amps here and 40 amps here. Okay, is it a consistent of 80 amps? Not always, but when it's on, it can go max up to, usually it's 80% value of that breaker. So maybe it's running 30 and 30, but that's still 60 amps. And then you have to remember there's a 4,500 kW for a hot water heater as well. And so that's gonna be running about 18 amps. And those are elements, so they do run full amount of current until they're satisfied. So until that little tank is filled, or a large water tank, it's not gonna slow down and stop with the thermostat. It's important to get those items changed out, especially your hot water heater, which is gonna be rusted or as well just not heating as well. The other side, oh, and by the way, those hot water heaters can have two elements, a dual system. You don't take 4,500 times twice though, but you have to keep in mind that it's both together, and dividing that out by 240 volts, you're gonna be right around 20 amps. So if you add that 30-30 and that on, all that together, well, you could be consistently running right close to 80 amps. Okay, so keep that in mind. And the other side of this, she has an electric dryer too, not a gas. Of course, there's no gas in this subdivision. And the other side of that is there's other appliances that could be drawing energy. But keep in mind that if your windows and doors do not stay shut, this is going to cause you an issue too. But we did come in today and see that from 35 years ago, these aluminum circuits were actually put deox underneath the heat pump, and dryer. The hot water heater actually had copper, so they didn't do this. And this deox is dried out, and it's crispy, and one of them was turning brown. And in fact, it was making the bus bar up here get a little brown, not bad, but we moved these breakers down. And we don't want to have the furnace and the heat pump side by side. We want them alternated, because when someone comes home, they're going to take a shower and turn on the heat, and we don't want them side by side. So anyways, this is something to keep in mind. We did clean up those breakers. You can get new breakers, but these breakers are rated for aluminum and copper. So you guys who on YouTube love to follow me or give me great criticism and think that aluminum dissimilar metal should have Diox put on the breaker, you are uneducated. You need to stop doing that. You will wreck the breaker, eventually wear out her bus bar, and now she needs a whole service change, or the person that you're servicing. So keep that in mind, that the breakers state. You need to read what it states. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully it'll help you guys out. But yeah, again, this complaint is, why is my electric bill so high? Last quick thing, please keep in mind that your utilities has the strike of the pin. And last fall in 2018, this city raised their tier rating on pricing. So if you're a person that works 8 to 5, you might want to alter when you shower with an electric water heater. And if you get an e-volt car, you might want to alter when you're charging that too, by telling the system when to turn on. These things will help lower your bill. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.